Hello, my name is Fleming and welcome to yet another video. Today I'm going to be talking about something that I feel quite disappointed by, and of course I'm talking about the new 2016 MacBook Pros, the 15-inch and the 13-inch model. I'm talking mainly about the more expensive versions, the two with the touch bars. So let's get right into it. First of all, I'm going to talk about the pros of both these models, the 13-inch and the 15-inch. I'm mainly focusing on the 15-inch because that's what I'm interested in, because that's what I'm using here. This is my 15-inch 2015. And it's mainly what I'm interested in, and it's kind of the more powerful of the two and the more useful of the two. Also the most expensive of the two models. Both models have brighter screens, slightly better displays and qualities and resolution, slightly faster CPUs, USB-C connectivity, and both models are lighter. So the 13-inch model was 3.48 pounds, which is about 1.58 kilos. So the new model is, I think, 400 grams lighter than the old model in regards to the 13-inch, and the 15-inch model was 2 kilos, which is about 4.5 pounds, and that's now 4 pounds, which is about 1.8 kilos. So that's also, you know, a bit lighter, which is a nice difference. It's also a bit thinner, just slightly thinner. It's kind of like what we've seen Apple do over the last few years, making their devices thinner and more portable. Big difference between the 2015 models and the 2016 models is something that's been highly anticipated, and this is of course the OLED touch bar. This is replacing the function keys and the shortcuts at the very top, so like your brightness, your volume, your pause, play, all those shortcuts are being replaced. And it also has a Touch ID sensor where the power button used to be. It also has a larger trackpad, which I find pretty exciting, because it was one thing I always thought with the 2015 model is the trackpad could have been bigger. So now they have a larger trackpad, as well as the touch bar being used for other things. The touch bar can now be used with the Touch ID for unlocking your device and Apple Pay and stuff like that, which is a nice feature to have on a laptop. Big thing that I'm kind of happy about, excited about, is the addition of space grey as a colour. I love space grey as a colour, and when I saw it on the 12-inch MacBook in 2015, I was disappointed that the 15-inch 2015 model did not come in space grey. It's silver, which is nice, but not space grey. As well as that, in terms of the 15-inch model, it now comes with a Radeon 450 GPU in the base model instead of the Intel Iris. Yeah, that's a bit of an upgrade, a bit of a significant upgrade, and an important one. But now we get to the cons, and this is where things start to get a bit disappointing. First of all, the loss of the glowing Apple logo. That, you can't see it. That thing right there, that's gone. As we've seen with the 12-inch MacBook, the glowing Apple logo is gone. As well as that, we have the loss of ports. Now this is a massive issue, which a lot of people are really disappointed about, including myself, because it makes things difficult for creative professionals and creative people, and just anyone who relies on the connectivity of a device like this. So we have lost all of the USB ports, all of the USB-A ports. We've lost the two Thunderbolt 2 ports. We've lost the MagSafe port, which I will get back to later, and we have also lost the SD card slot, which is quite disappointing. First of all, in regards to the loss of the USB ports, yes, I know that technology is always evolving and stuff like that, but at the same time, this is a pro device, and if you think about what kind of peripherals pros have and creative people have, a lot of them still use USB-A because it just works for what it does. So the likes of MIDI devices, MIDI keyboards, audio interfaces, drawing pads, even for the likes of Protools, the use of the iLock. The iLock is a small little USB dongle that you need to have to use your serial codes with Protools. Yes, they announced a brand new iLock 3 just 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I think it was even the same day as the Apple event, and that iLock 3 still uses USB-A. So that means now to use this iLock, which is already a cumbersome device, you now need to have an adapter or a dongle, and that's just annoying. So hopefully iLock will bring out a USB-C alternative. I feel like it will be a while, and we will be waiting a while, which is a bit disappointing and a bit of a kick in the face for anyone who uses Pro Tools and wants to get the latest MacBook big con in the 2016 MacBook Pro is that the 15-inch model still only comes with a 256GB SSD, despite the hefty price increase and also the decrease in price for the SSD technology. So it's essentially exactly the same 256GB SSD that was in the 2015 model, which is disappointing. Quickly talk about the SD card slot. I feel like Apple is underplaying this, and Apple is aiming at a bit of the wrong market. Of course, a lot of photography is being done on smartphones, but at the end of the day, a photographer is always going to take their best pictures on a camera, and all of these cameras have SD cards. And the fastest way, and this is for photographers, for videographers, even for people who use something like a Zoom recording device, as I am right now, the fact that now they have to plug it in over USB, and then they have to get an adapter to actually plug it into USB-C, or else having to now get an adapter to plug it into the USB-C port. It just makes things really awkward. And I know this was the case that we had like 5-10 years ago, but now it's reoccurring, and it's a bit cumbersome. It makes things difficult if you're trying to do something on the go, and it means you have to have a rake of different adapters with you at all times, which I'll get back to in a later part of this video. We're now going to talk about the loss of MagSafe 2, which is this tiny little charger. MagSafe has saved my laptop on so many occasions, and it is so handy. If I'm rushing out the door, I literally just grab my laptop, I pull it off the desk, and I put it in my bag, and I don't have to worry about unplugging it, blah blah blah. I just pull it out, done. I get home, then I just kind of put it anywhere near the charging port, and it just clicks in just like that, which is really handy. And it's kind of sad to see it go, because it takes away some of the kind of efficiency that MacBooks always had, and it also takes away the safety, because if someone was to trip over the leads, such as if you're in an airport, if you are in a lecture hall, something like that, and have to have your laptop plugged in because it's out of battery, you now run the risk of, if someone were to trip over that wire, it would knock your laptop, or they would trip over it and just cause damage to your laptop or whoever trips over it, which is not a good benefit, and something I'm actually a bit worried about, especially because I use my laptop on my lap a lot as well. So the fact that someone could come along, trip over it, laptop down, bang, that's brand new expensive MacBook destroyed basically. And also I tend to use it on the couch or in bed a lot, so there the MagSafe, it just kind of bends out of the way and allows me to continue working regardless, whereas the new one, I feel like it's going to kind of could possibly just bend inside the port or else the cable, which is yeah, undesired. Keyboard, yeah, this issue is something I'm really a bit annoyed about. It's the fact that they're implementing the flimsy 12-inch MacBook's butterfly keyboard. I'm one of those people who really does not like this keyboard at all, because it just feels incredibly cheap and incredibly, yeah, I don't know, just feels really cheap, and I don't like it. I'm a major critic of it. Next we have price, and this is also a massive factor. The base 15-inch model is now either $2,399 or €2,799 in comparison to the $1,999 for the 2015 model, or that's €2,399, which is a pretty significant price increase for not much return, as in there's not much upgrades apart from the GPU and the touch bar. The base 13-inch models with touch bar are now costing €2,099 or $1,799, which again is a pretty big increase to what they were before. Although Apple claims that the 2016 models have better battery life, we have smaller batteries within both models. So the 2016 15-inch model has a built-in 76 watt hour lithium polymer battery, whereas the 2015-inch 15-inch had a 95 watt. This worries me because maybe it's a bit more efficient in simple tasks, whereas if you're rendering or doing something intensive, then this could prove a lot more draining on the battery, and yeah, I don't know, I don't think it's a good thing. Also, the 2016 MacBooks don't have the latest 7th gen chipset. They are still using the 6th gen, which is an upgrade from the 5th gen obviously, but it's not at like where it should be right now. The fact that they're a generation behind their competitors. The screen update is good because it's brighter and it's a bit sharper. However, it's only a slight incremental update and nothing spectacular, which is a bit disappointing. The toolbar could be useful, but I feel like it is a gimmick, and it also sits in a bit of an awkward position because if you're using your laptop, 9 out of 10 times you're not going to be using it looking straight down at the keyboard. You're going to be using it from an angle, meaning that you have this weird viewing angle because it's kind of like on the border where the hinge is. The big issue that I'm going to finish this video off with is the ports, and I've talked about it throughout the video. And the biggest issue with it is the fact that you need to get adapters. You need to get adapters upon adapters upon adapters. You just need so many adapters. So if you have audio devices or MIDI interfaces or stuff like that, peripherals, most of these are going to run with USB-A. You're going to need an adapter for that. It's going to be quite a while before they have USB-C or Thunderbolt 3 peripherals, and I can't really see it happening for the next 2-3 years because there are so many other devices that still do have USB-A. So at the moment I'm using a Thunderbolt interface, which I got a few months ago, which is using Thunderbolt 2, meaning that, and although I'd already paid $39 for the cable connecting the Thunderbolt on my laptop to the Clarett, I now have to pay I think an extra $50 to get the adapter from Thunderbolt 2 to Thunderbolt 3, and I also need to get a few other things if I was to upgrade. So I'd have to get a USB-A to Thunderbolt 3 connector, I'd have to get a SD card to Thunderbolt 3 connector. The cost of the USB-C to Thunderbolt 2 adapter is $50. The SD card adapter is around $50 and it is incredibly ugly. It protrudes out like this much and it's just an incredibly ugly connector. And then the USB-A to USB-C connector is, I think it's about $25–30. Essentially the price difference between this and the current MacBook Pro 15-inch base model is pretty substantial, because initially the price is €400 extra, then you have the addition of €50 for the Thunderbolt to USB-C, then you have SD card slot extra 100 for both of those. I'd probably end up getting 2 USB-A to USB-C, so we'd be looking at 150 euros or dollars already for these, you know, these 3 types of connectors. And I'm so lucky that I don't have any FireWire devices, so if I had a FireWire device I'd have to upgrade and get a FireWire to Thunderbolt 3 connector as well. If Protools do release an iLock with USB-C, which I kind of see unlikely for the next 6 months to a year, seeing as they only revealed the iLock 3 I think 2 days ago. I feel like because their upgrade process and their process of innovation takes a long time, that a lot of users will probably end up using Logic for the first while or end up completely switching to Logic. So hopefully iLock or Protools or Digidesign or whoever makes them nowadays, that they get around to actually getting a USB-C version out there pretty soon. One more quick topic about ports is, while both of the versions with the touch bar, so the 13-inch and the 15-inch, both of them have 4 USB-C ports, which is good, 2 on each side, and it's obviously charged over USB-C as well. That's all well and good, but the version without the touch bar, the kind of cheaper version, the one that's aimed at the old MacBook Air consumers, that one only has 2 ports, and I know you can probably daisy chain Thunderbolt 3. However, majority of users and users in that lower price category are not going to be getting a daisy chainable port, so therefore you have 1 port for charging and you have 1 port for everything else. Getting back to the price element of this all, so you've got all those adapters. For me, Thunderbolt adapter, USB-A adapter, probably get 2 of those, and the SD card adapter. Also, it doesn't have HDMI, so I'd probably have to get a HDMI adapter as well. All in all, I'll be looking at about $200 for all of those adapters together. And if I was to get a hub, which I probably would do, Belkin's after announcing a new one, that would be an extra $300. I think the new one's $300. So all in all, that's almost $500, at least $100. So that's just $100 to $500 for dongles on their own, which is pretty hefty price increase, especially seeing as it's also $400 more expensive than the 2015 version, and you'd be looking at almost, I think, $900 of a difference, almost a grand extra, which I find very difficult to justify. I'd be interested to see what the version 2 of this looks like. So this time next year, or this time next summer, when they update this touch bar version, which is what I'm going to call it from now on. This is the Force Touch because that was the latest development, and this one is going to be the touch bar, and I'll be interested to see what they do when they update that, because I do feel like, because of the negativity surrounding it, I do feel like they would be pushed to put back in an SD card slot. Now, I don't believe that this SD card slot is going to be very deep. I feel like it's just going to be the contacts at the top. The SD card slot on this model here, the 2015, it only goes in, the cards only go in about halfway. I imagine that if they were to implement one in the next version of the MacBook, that it would be even less so, probably about a quarter of the way, something like that. USB-C thing is something we'll get used to, and yes, it's innovative. Problem is the technology that people working in audio, video and photography, those kind of people, they use technology that works and has worked for the last 10 years. In terms of MIDI keyboards, not much has changed, and not much is likely to change, and MIDI keyboards and stuff like that really do not need the 40 gigabytes of bandwidth that the MacBook Pro has with its Thunderbolt 3. So yeah, I'd be interested to hear if you're updating or not. So if you're thinking of updating, then please do let me know below in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please give it a like, share and subscribe, and I will talk to you in the next video. As always, I've been Fleming. Bye bye! Also, you can find all of the links to all the technology I'm using in my vlogs and in my other videos down there in the description, because I've just been getting a lot of messages recently of what I use, so I decided to just put everything down there. They're all Amazon links. Click on them and be sound. Yeah, talk to you soon.